What do we take from today's conversation? Joining the studio, LBC's political editor, Natasha Clark. Morning, Natasha. What do we take from that?
Morning, Nick. Yes, well, I thought that obviously to start out, you had him over the ropes a little bit about his plans, which he revealed on Monday, the plans to basically get rid of indefinite leave to remain.
The whole point of what I talked about on Monday was we have, over the next 3 years, 1.3 million people coming up expecting to be granted indefinite leave to remain. Yep. It's part of the Boris wave that he allowed. And if we do that, some estimates are that will cost the taxpayer over £200 billion over the years to come.
Now, Mr. Farage.
No, it hasn't been widely discredited at all.
Even the body that produced it says that it's unsubstantiated figures.
Yeah. Do you know what? Whether it's 180 billion or 260 billion, it would represent a massive saving for the country.
I think there was a slight shifting of sands there. Previously, it was a lot of write-ups over the weekend about deporting potentially hundreds of thousands of people. And understandably, that's got a lot of people quite worried about what that might mean for their families. But I think he was pretty firm on that, saying that these people would have their benefits taken away but not necessarily deported. So it felt to me like a little bit of a shift in that. And he was quite reassuring, I thought, to that American woman who called in saying, look, no, we're not going to be deporting you. If you've come here, if your family can support you, then, if you don't have to live off social security. He said of Ukrainians and Hong Kongers, again, they don't tend to live off social security. Yep. They're among the hardest working people. So no plans to ban dual citizenship as well. So that was an interesting takeaway as well.
Children, though, of Isle is interesting, isn't it? Because still don't quite know that the children won't be deported, but we'll just switch off any of their benefits, effectively.
Absolutely. So, like I say, I think there's still a little bit of flesh on the bones to sort of iron out some of those. And I think people are understandably worried. There has been quite a lot of a backlash to this. But Nigel Farage, I think, slightly softening his position on there, saying there is not going to be a lot.
But not listening to the financial side, won't take on board what seems to be the organisation that put the figures out said that we need to backtrack on these a little bit. But
exactly.
He says it could be, he's not losing this line, it could be even bigger than 2
Yeah, exactly. Billion. Well, apparently that's what they've told them in private, that the CPS, the think tank that did those statistics, has said that actually we are going to be revising these figures, but we're going to be revising them upwards. So we will hear, I'm sure, in a few weeks from the CPS about whether that is the case or not. You then moved on to press him about Donald Trump, of course, and what he's been saying in the United States in the last couple of days, about paracetamol, about autism.
I do think individual countries should have their own debates and make their own health decisions. So I wouldn't follow what Mr. Kennedy's department does. I'd listen to what they have to say, but I wouldn't follow it. And frankly, nor would I follow the World Health Organization, who now seem to want to take some extraordinary powers that would allow them to lock us down in the future. No, having our own independent healthcare policy, making our own decisions, must be the right thing to do.
When Nigel, when Donald Trump talks about links between paracetamol or Tylenol and autism, is he right?
I have no idea.
You think he might be right?
I have no idea. We were told thalidomide was a very safe drug and it wasn't. Who knows? Nick, I don't know. You don't know. He has a particular thing about autism, I think because there's been some in his family, and he feels it very personally. I have no idea.
You wouldn't side with the medical experts who say it's dangerous nonsense?
I wouldn't. When it comes to science, I don't side with anybody.
Right.
He really wouldn't criticise Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy on those, saying, look, they follow their own decisions, I don't know, and you don't know, RE. Autism, I don't side with anybody. I thought the interesting quote there was, the science is never settled. That's a really interesting one, because I think that will, and has worried a lot of people here in the UK. You've had Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, saying, absolutely not, please ignore this advice. You've had the World Health Organisation, many medical bodies here in the United Kingdom saying this paracetamol is safe.
Natasha, you have to look long and hard to find anyone who doesn't think that it's a safe drug, isn't it? So that was a weird one. Sorry, on you go.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. I thought he was also very strong on, of course, Palestine, something that, the Prime Minister this week has obviously recognised the state.
I think it was a ridiculous thing to do, but of course he's playing to the left of British politics.
So it was a fight in his own party rather than the Middle East.
And the growing vote. There is a growing Muslim vote in Britain that puts Palestine at the top of their political agenda. It's part of the changes that we're seeing that immigration has led to in our country, and it is shifting the political agenda.
He called it a ridiculous thing to do, said he was playing to the left of the party and the country, talking about how there is a so-called growing Muslim vote, which puts Palestine at the top of the agenda, so shifting there. He was also very strong, I thought, on the early deportation. Of course, we had the sentencing yesterday of the man in Essex accused of found guilty of those sex crimes, saying that mothers who were started protesting were right to protest for safety on the streets.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, what this case shows is the mothers who started protesting outside the Bell Hotel were right. They were absolutely right to protest outside that hotel for safety on the streets for their daughters and for other women. Secondly, the sentence. What on earth is going on? Those crimes of which he was convicted carry up to 14 years in prison. Up to 14 years. He gets 12 months. Imagine if he'd said something nasty on Twitter. I'm being serious. I mean, this sentence lays bare the two-tier policing and justice that we are living in our country. This is one of the best examples yet. This sentence is an absolute disgrace. So before we discuss whether he should be deported or not, ask ourselves, how does Lucy Connolly get 31 months for a tweet that was wrong but deleted very quickly? And this guy, 4 separate charges on which he was convicted, just gets 12 months. Something is very, very wrong here. Also, on those reports that we've seen this week on the amount of money that is being spent by our councils on taxis for asylum seekers, so that was potentially very strong. Some reports saying that they spent up to £600 ferrying people to hospital appointments. So very strong on that. Very interesting as well, I thought, on the free speech round. I thought what Bob Vylan said about the death of my friend Charlie Kirk was absolutely vile. But I wouldn't ban it. I wouldn't have him arrested. I wouldn't have him deported because he wasn't inciting violence. He was just giving...
I think he's British-born as well, isn't he?
No, but he was giving a view. He was giving a view that I thought was pretty repulsive, but I think he should be allowed to do it. And I think there is a danger, Emmy, there is a danger... I mean, obviously people are mortified about what happened to Charlie, but there is a danger that the Republicans go over the top in pushing back against this. So we need to remember there are limits to free speech. We know what they are. Shouting fire in a crowded theatre, the classic one back from the 19th century, inciting violence. Outside of that, they're going to have to get used to things being said that they don't like. Very much the implication there that Donald Trump needs to be, quote, very careful about what they say about free speech, because you are opening up to a potentially attacks on exactly the kind of thing that you're trying to stand up for in terms of free speech. I think privately Nigel Farage probably really disagrees with the idea that Donald Trump is trying to curb free speech, trying to force broadcasters on off air with what we've seen with Jimmy Kimmel.
OK, thanks for that. And, of course, the idea that they're eating cats and dogs in Springfield, I
didn't quite follow that, Nick.
Sorry, carp and swan.
Are they?
If I said to you that swans were being eaten in royal parks in this country, that carp were being taken out of ponds and eaten in this country by people who come from cultures that have a different... Would you agree it's happening here?
I've certainly read... I didn't know about swans. I've read about carp being fished,
well, there you go. So, look, you know, neither of us can prove or disprove.
Who are taking the carp and the swans?
People who come from countries where that's quite acceptable to do.
Well, I've read headlines that it's Eastern Europeans, Romanians and people like that.
I believe.
Is that what you've heard?
So I believe.
Are they?
Well, there were reports that, yes, people was fishing carp. I didn't know about the swans, but they were fishing carp. But
I think he owes you a tenner for that one.
He wants my tenner, I want his tenner. I sense that row will go on.